What a day. I have so many things to get to this morning that are of great significance. One, Gary Player's ball did end up in the fairway, as did Jack Nicklaus.
Do we know that for sure? Do we know that for sure? We don't know that for sure.
I do.
You can feel it? Just by the way they compress the ball?
The sound.
You don't have to see it. You just have to hear it?
That's all I got to do is hear it.
What a pro. You're such a golf guy. Who you got this week in your pool?
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about it. Colin Morikawa, this is his week. This is his week. He gets it done.
I do like Colin Morikawa
He's been strong in the first round, and I think this is the week where his legs are ready to finish it. Rory doesn't have it mentally. He's not going to get it done. I don't know why so many people are on him.
Too soft.
Who are you taking?
I like Morikawa, actually, a lot.
I called him yesterday.
It was actually a joke, but
no, I do like him a lot. I'm taking Rory, though. I think Rory's in a different place mentally. It's about between the ears, Cole. Unlike just meeting it up in the trenches along the O-line, we, in some of our positions, like to play with a little bit of more intellect and cerebrality. And Rory's found that this week.
A little braininess.
Little brainage.
Okay.
Drainage on the brainage is good.
So, John, you're taking Morikawa?
Called it yesterday.
Okay, I'll switch then.
Who are you taking? Patton Kizzire? Oh, he's an Auburn man. Jason Duffner?
Is he in the field?
God, I hope not.
Wow. Why?
Because he's not good anymore. Hasn't been for like 10 years.
You're not taking Justin Thomas?
I'll take Koiven, the freshman.
JT's the Saban guy. I've moved on. All about the board.
I've taken Nicky Dunlap.
How cool was it to see him walking around with his little baby on the course yesterday? God.
You love it, too.
Just the coolest thing ever.
It is. What's better?
Baby caddy outfit.
Baby caddy outfit.
Get him working young.
What size do you think that was? 14, 16 to 18 month?
Had to be.
D. Mitchell size.
Scotty Scheffler just flubbed a wedge on the practice screen, so that's problematic. Now he's putting from off the green. We got issues.
We're talking about practice?
Yes.
Literally.
Not a game. Not a game.
No, you need to know.
Not a game.
These are important things.
We're talking about practice.
You need to know these things. You love the Masters.
Oh, your boy Kizzire already teed off.
Yeah, he teed off. He blew one so far right that they weren't sure if it was out of bounds stakes over there.
Yeah, but there's a tree that's gone this year over there, so he's going to be fine.
You know what they say.
Those winds
These
are
Auburn folk, they can't rise to the occasion.
Is this your Tony Finau gets it done?
As if he's been in the mix a whole lot. I think he was in the final pairing once, though, back when Tigray won.
Can Dustin Johnson match his COVID win in the fall?
I think DJ's probably seen his best golf's behind him.
Why? What?
As my buddy told me yesterday, that was the wrong guy to give $300 million to.
Oh, no.
What is he, Embiid?
What about $500 million?
I don't think he got 500.
Just saying, would he be the wrong guy to give 500 to, like Vlad Jr., who, by the way, got 325 G'd no matter what. And the CBA is up after next year. Work stoppage or not, Vlad Guerrero Jr. gets $325 million to sign.
Well, something tells me they're going to play baseball again, whether or not
it could be. We've seen them take about a year off, so he's getting that money no matter what.
Yeah.
It's not a bad deal if you can get it.
When I think of motivated athletes, Vlad doesn't necessarily come to the top of the list.
Oh, wait, sorry. We're selling baseball with this music. My bad.
Oh, you're good. It feels comparable.
Can Patrick Reed do it again? I love his short game, guys,
back,
but, this is the course where you got to keep it between the.
You got to be crafty.
You got to be in the fairway.
I actually like Patrick Reed this week. He's ninth right now, or he's been trending in the right direction, starting with his first live tournament was at Riyadh. I know you were watching that. Didn't have such a great finish that day, but has been trending in the right direction, finishing at 9th last week in Miami for Live Miami.
I will probably surprise you a little bit. This is a probably a bit of an emotional pick. I will take Maverick McNeely this week.
He's good. Why would that be emotional?
Because I have a friend that's there to watch him that was invited. So
By him?
by him and his father, yeah.
Wow. Maverick McNeely, richest guy on tour.
Maybe not yet, but
No,
will
he
be.
is. His dad's a
I know who his dad is.
multi-billionaire.
That doesn't mean he is yet.
Something tells me probably,
You don't know how, his dad doesn't necessarily operate that way.
fair enough, but I don't think he's hurting.
I'll take Mav.
Love that. Good player.
You bring Matt Norby in your group, I'm on your side. There you go.
There
Who
you
you
go.
got?
Name drop.
Who you got?
Rory.
This is because you hugged him at a tournament like Zarzar told us yesterday?
No, he hugged me. Secondly,
That is ridiculous.
that's about
Like
right.
some Landrum would say.
No, you don't need to be mad at me. I didn't hug him. How do you?
So you're
you-
telling me Rory McElroy, when you were covering a golf tournament, when you worked for SiriusXM, and you decided not to interview anyone, as Taylor Zarzar told us yesterday,
Not true. We tried to interview people.
walked over to you and gave you a hug because he saw you.
Like a full-on hug or a dab bro hug, like
Dat
half
bro hug.
on?
Dat bro hug.
Or do you
Always.
double hand and double
No,
tap
double
the back?
hand. Who double hands a dude?
I don't know, man.
Can't do
Move
that.
on from that, please.
No. Bro hug.
Okay.
Handshake. Wrap around.
As in knew who you were.
Yes.
Like it was a fan of yours.
But he did it to you. You didn't do it.
Did not
So you
initiate.
didn't. Okay. But you had to.
No,
Oh,
he
you like stepped in front of him so he had to?
so he
you didn't give him a
tweeted
choice?
he tweeted one time when I was playing for the Jets, when I had to come off the bench and play. He tweeted the Jets finally found a quarterback, like with a smiley face, because we
boy.
have the same last name. So we're basically related. We're basically brothers.
Even though
And-
it's not spelled the same?
Not the same.
Both pronounce McElroy.
Yeah, basically, yeah. But no, we're not boys or anything. Like we've met and been around each other for about 8 minutes in our lives. So no, I wouldn't say we're tight. Nice kid, nice guy. I don't know what to tell you. Like him and want him to win. Want him to conquer his demons and win this week. I think it'd be amazing if he could pull off the career Grand Slam. He's one of the most likable players on tour. He's been loyal to the tour. He's turned down a lot of money from Liv, and I think he deserves it. It'd be great if he
Who
could
was
pull
the
it off.
last person, though, that closed something like this off with this kind of pressure on them to just do that? Not win a tournament, not be the best golfer that weekend, just to get a career Grand Slam. Like that feels like something that mentally or emotionally is going to work against you, especially when you are a guy who your mentals and emotions have worked against you in the past.
That is accurate. The guys with, there's not a lot of guys that have the career Grand Slam to begin with.
Well, Jeff Darlington's not going to have the same story this time around as last major.
Well, you have Gene Saracen, Gary Player, Ben Hogan, Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus, and Bobby Jones.
Oh, no,
There's
no, I'm
been
not saying
6
that
ever.
it can't be done or that it's not difficult, anything like that. I'm just saying I feel like he was going to have a hard enough time winning this tournament based on mentally how he's handled it in the past. And now he's supposed to go out and win it just so he can get the career Grand Slam. Like doubtful if that's why he gets it done this week.
Perhaps.
Putting
but
that extra pressure on somebody who hasn't handled the pressure well of this tournament.
it's definitely a lot of pressure. But
And now all of a sudden he's going to change his personality when he's out there and not be a risk taker. Oh boy.
hey, don't be mad at me. You got to just go do it. It's time to put up or shut up. And I honestly think he's still, from a ball striking standpoint, there's very few in the world that are better than him. Scotty Scheffler being the one. So Rory doesn't make a critical mistake. He's made critical mistakes on this course before. This course requires tremendous patience. If for whatever reason he can be a little more mature and a little more patient and let the tournament kind of come to him, maybe it will happen for him. But I'm certainly hoping that it does. I think it'd be great for the sport.
How does his game fit in with how the cut's going to be this year?
The rough cut.
The rough cut. Also, would like your prediction on where the actual cut's going to be. That's what we always have to talk about that every time too.
I think
where do you think cut's going to fall?
The cut will be around like +2.
+2, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Give or take. It's within 10 strokes.
It's playing fast.
Someone will go low today. Someone will shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Someone will shoot 6 under today. Then the leader tomorrow.
It's going to heat up through the weekend, so things are going to speed up.
Yeah, it dries out.
Yep. These are the conversations that we're going to get all.
That is accurate.
This is it.
That is true.
Well, who's game? The Europeans are going to have more success over the weekend because those greens are going to speed up, and they're used to the short game handling that way. They'll be putting from 50 yards out.
Is that what it? Do you think that's what it's going to come down to?
That's what it looks like to me. I might have to switch my pick.
Wow. So you're going Tommy Fleetwood now?
Him or Cam Smith, maybe.
All right. Cam Smith hasn't done anything of significance in a while, so I like that pick by you.
How about Giannis in Vegas?
Who?
I don't know.
Jonathan Vegas?
JHONATTAN is Jonathan now?
Yeah, Johnny Vegas. Yeah. He's from like Argentina.
In what language does that say Jonathan?
I don't know. His name's Johnny Vegas. It's a sweet name. So.
He's Swedish?
Sweet. I think he's Argentinian. I don't know for sure.
How many rounds will Will Zalatoris look like he's going to win it and then go away?
Zalatoris plays Augusta well.
That's why I asked the question.
But he's got back problems.
I don't know these things. But
he's got back problems. He's a stick.
Fellow back problem-y, I can let you know it doesn't assist in things like playing golf.
Yeah. When you got chronic back problems, that's never good.
Okay, cut the music. Can we get to the important happenings of the day? Why are you so dressed up today?
I have to go to Tuscaloosa today.
For?
Is it dress code now?
You have to?
Yes, I have to go to Tuscaloosa. The whole city has incorporated a dress code.
I don't step on the capstone without my good clothes on.
When I go to Tuscaloosa, I mean business. No, I will be going down and we'll be participating at an event today in Tuscaloosa for the business school, the Culver House School of Business. So I'm going to be wearing a suit today. So I have suit pants on and a workout shirt up top, but we'll change here at the conclusion of the show.
Sorry, quickly. Russell Terry tweets in, I hate to do this, but being the Bammer that I am, if Rory has a 3-stroke lead on the back 9 on Sunday and Cameron Smith wins the Masters, does that make it the Cam back part 2?
Wow. Don't hate it.
It absolutely does. For us, and we will use that. I will steal that from you.
What about Cameron Young? There's a bunch of Cams. There's a few options there.
You are teaching a class today?
Not teaching a class, no. I will be participating in a class from 2 to 2:50 today in Tuscaloosa. What that entails is a little bit unclear, but it's gonna be a lot of fun. And then we have an event tonight from 5 to 6:30. So it's fun.
The event tonight is when you'll be receiving your award?
Yes, there's an award involved. But
I didn't ask if there was an award involved. That's when you will be receiving your personal award.
There's a lot of people that are getting awards tonight. I happen to be one of them. Yes, that is accurate. That is accurate.
And are you allowed to share what award you will be winning today?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's a secret. I am winning the Alumni Award for marketing this year. So as a marketing graduate from Alabama, I am receiving the award for that. But there's a bunch of people going down there too. It's going to be really cool. A lot of good people, a lot of alumni, and to interact with the students today will be really special. So I always love going back to Tuscaloosa. It's always a blast. And especially, I mean, when I go down, usually now it's for sports.
Wait a second. Does he have a fanny pack on, or does he have a quarterback hand warmer on?
Hand warmer.
Tell me you're playing the softest sport that there is without telling me you're playing the softest
when you
sport
have a hand warmer on, it's 58.
When you have a quarterback hand warmer on walking around the golf course. You have pockets, kid.
I'm not saying it's not soft. I'm just saying.
Hold on. You are getting an award for marketing the University of Alabama?
The Marketing Alumni Leadership Award. So
Is this for just marketing the entire university? Like the good that you have done in marketing all of Alabama? 'Cause
no,
I feel like our listeners that feel like you hate Alabama need to know this. We need to put this like on
No.
full blast right
those
now.
people that think I hate Alabama probably don't know anything about what they're talking about. And
Well, they
have never
definitely
had a
don't know about
conversation with me.
Barnhill School of Business Award that you're going to receive tonight for
Cool.
marketing the entire university for them.
It's not marketing the entire university, but
But I also do feel like this could hurt your status moving forward of people who do think you're a homer of actually winning an award for marketing Alabama for Alabama.
it's not marketing. It's not marketing Alabama. I am a marketing.
What is it for?
I am
then?
a graduate from the Culverhouse College of Business, but
Humble
my
brag.
degree is in marketing. So,
But you don't do marketing
I do not. But in many ways, what I do is marketing.
for the school.
In many ways, yes.
So you are being awarded for marketing Alabama. I'm just trying to straighten all this out for when I have to answer questions about this because they're coming.
That's fine. Tell them that I'm receiving an award as a distinguished alumni from the College of Business, Culverhouse College of Business, and there's a bunch of people getting them. I'm not the only one. It's not like it's like 12 people that are being awarded tonight as
Is there another
distinguished
that we
alumni.
have heard of?
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch.
Justin Thomas,
No,
Sean Alexander,
nope.
Chris Samuels,
I think it required
Paul
being
Hogan.
like, I think it required being like a really good
William
student.
Vlahos,
I don't know for sure, but
Barrett Jones, Dwight Stevenson. I'm just going through every Alabama center I can think of right
there
now.
you go.
Did your sister win it? Kat McElroy won it in 21.
No,
22, excuse me.
not my sister.
Oh, Rory's sister.
Rory's sister for sure.
But it's spelled your way.
But like, there's Matthew Dent is coming back. He's the president and CEO of Buffalo Rock. Like, he's one of the alumni that are being presented today. There's a bunch of people that are awesome. I won't say everybody's name that's going to be down there, but people that have been
I'm not saying he's important as Jimmy Lee, but
highly successful in business or whatever it is that they've gone into and have supported the university and have done good things for the university. So it's cool.
they
It's
don't
gonna
do
be
those.
fun.
They don't do those kind of things for liberal arts degrees.
Why?
It's not as important as in the
They absolutely
world economy.
They
I feel like.
absolutely do.
I haven't received any.
Well, that might require the fact that you make fun of your own intelligence.
I got to market my school better.
Well, they did the numbers last year. Like some person said that this person, Nick, they was on behalf of Coach Saban. It's like Coach Saban, his airtime on television has been worth blank, like $20 million
No doubt.
for the University of Alabama.
And he's racking up, by the way. You saw he's nominated for an Emmy?
Is he? Nice. Love it.
It's for, I forgot the way that they stated it. Hold on. I think I may have saved it.
Breakthrough star.
There you go. Like new star, like up and coming something or other.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. There's nobody else that I would think would even be close to him in that.
Probably
Number
not.
one,
no.
he crushed it last year. And then, I mean, how many other guys that are just getting started that have anything close to the platform that he does to even be seen? So I feel like that he'll take that. And then he's going into the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame.
Nice.
Retirement has been good to Coach Saban.
Coach Saban's living that life.
He's about that life.
His honorarium isn't small either when he goes to speak. So, like, he's cooking.
2025 inductee, Nick Saban. By the way, the coaching gear at LSU looks very dated now.
Yeah, a little baggy.
A little bit high on the drawers. But yeah, it's been, man, what a run he's on since retiring from Alabama. We thought it was all going to be downhill from here.
No, he's chilling. He's got it going on.
No doubt.
No doubt about it.
Okay, so we will move away from awards that Greg McElroy is winning, classes he is teaching. We've got Eric McLean joining us at 7:40. You probably did not know Clemson played their spring. Well, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase. Clemson had spring activities involving football
Spring
over the weekend.
soiree.
Correct. Chris Lowe spent the day in Auburn yesterday. What did he learn about Hugh Freeze, Jackson Arnold, others? He'll share that with us at 8:15. But Coach Wim Sanderson with us at 9. And then Colby Newton, whose book, SEC Football, I'm sorry, let me rephrase, SEC Football, How a Regional League Became a National Obsession. The power behind that title. He will join us to discuss his book that's out now at 9:20 today. So a full day, a lot to get to. And when we come back, Greg McElroy updates you on the Masters leaderboard right after this. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, Thursday, April 10th, 7:24 a.m., which means they're already on the 13th hole.
No. This is practice round. Coverage doesn't start for another 21 minutes. So I put on yesterday.
What is
Just
our
so you can
leaderboard
really-
update, even though coverage is not happening? Because we know you have behind the snes look.
Yeah, really behind the scenes. Super. No one has ever been more behind the scenes than me when it comes to sitting in the studio here in Homewood, Alabama, covering the Masters tournament. Davis Riley, Alabama graduate Davis Riley, who got there because of a win at, where was it? The Colonial last year. Won in Fort Worth, punched his ticket to Augusta National. He is leading right now through 2 at 1 under. Jonathan Vegas, like you like to call him, parred 1. Mike Weir, former past champion, parred 1. Cam Young parred 1, and Patton Kazire 1 over through 3.
What about Nikolai
Højgaard. He's 1 over through 1. Kevin Yu 1 over through 1.
What about his opportunity?
Yeah,
today?
he's not bad. He's not a bad player. There's 95 players in the field this year, so a little bigger than usual.
Is that going to do something to the conditions, like the later groups?
You mean like the course is going to get beat up or something because there's so many players? I think he'll be all right. Don't know for sure.
What about Bubba Watson and Phil Mickelson, their opportunities this weekend?
You
got to be rooting for them, right?
It would be absolutely.
America loves Phil.
Not particularly anymore.
Kepka hit a hole-in-one yesterday, Greg, in a practice round. That means he's got to be up there towards the favorites, correct?
That's accurate. Phil Mickelson going off today, 858 local, alongside Keegan Bradley and Jason Day. And I would imagine that amongst those three, Phil will be the least popular. Last year, Jason Day did make some headlines because he had a new apparel sponsor known as Malbon. Not super familiar with their game,
Haven't seen the tape. Do you have
his
spelling
gear
on that?
His gear was so loud and obnoxious that the wonderful people of Augusta National asked him politely, "You're not wearing that this afternoon."
Oh yeah, this is a lot.
Did you see it?
I found it.
They told him you are not wearing that in the afternoon.
This is great. It's basically like hip hop golf gear.
Yes.
With like Hawaiian florals.
Correct. They told him you're not wearing that on the course today.
Oh, which is probably why they have a new all green line.
That's probably why, a little toned down. I think that's why what they went with. Now, hey, I'll say
got
this.
Jason Day in the pictures.
Yeah.
The Nylon Tech joggers for 128 that are not, what did we call the green yesterday? I can't remember the name of it.
Augusta green.
Yeah, but close.
Pantone 352C.
The stuff's not, I will say the stuff's not that bad.
No, it's not terrible, but it's a lot on
the loud stuff that like you're talking about. Yeah, I don't.
Look up Jason Day. Jason Day.
You were talking about it. Yeah.
2024 Augusta clothing.
Yeah, some of it's ridiculous.
You think?
Hey, if they want to sponsor me on the sidelines, I'll do it. Send me a check and I'll wear the loudest floral print you can find.
This is what he wore last year.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is.
That's a good look. You like it, don't you?
Well, there's an ad over it now, but yeah.
I'll buy you that vest.
They also have slides, too, that we could get for Conrad, since that's all he seems to wear. I have never seen Conrad in a pair of shoes.
No, it's accurate.
But then
does he own a pair of shoes, or is it just multiple pairs of Yeezy slides? Is that
I noticed when he was at the Abbey Awards, we didn't see pictures of included his shoes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I would like to know if he plays basketball in Yeezy slides, because I feel like he does, because that's all he has. Nonetheless.
Well, those things probably cost like $400. So I don't know.
You can't afford basketball.
Can't afford another pair.
Of that. Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
Let me tell you what I won't be spending money on. Expensive slides. My Crocs are perfectly fine.
Oh boy.
Oh, I'm too cool to wear.
My son tries to play basketball in Crocs too, and I'm like, hey, you can't play basketball.
Have you bought the giblets?
No, my son has.
What are you
those,
doing then? If you don't have giblets, what's the point of wearing Crocs?
I think they're called. I think they're called gibbets. I don't think they're giblets.
But I call them giblets.
Yeah, right.
It drives my kids
giblets.
crazy.
I'm about to say giblets go in your turkey gravy.
My kids don't like that, but I like it.
Crocs look like turkey, so boom.
Fair.
Crocs are dumb, but I have a pair.
They're convenient.
About to say that's the thing. It's like, okay, it's great that we're all sitting here dogging them, but who doesn't own a pair?
I don't. I have the $10 Yeezy knockoff slides from Walmart.
Okay, perfect. That counts. That's just as dumb. Go ahead, Saber.
I've got some Under Armour slides that are just simple black.
Also dumb. Under Armour. All right, so
okay.
I mean,
not for the next month and a half.
We're still talking about that.
Just got to get through baseball season and then make the big switch.
Kevin Plank's my boy. I like Under Armour gear. I just don't like the shoes. No disrespect.
Actually, I will say the coaches had these new like white joggers on the sideline of the UFL game this past week, and I was like, I would wear those.
They got good gear.
I was like, I would wear those.
Under Armour's gear and their material is fantastic.
And my son's
shoes are just
my
rough.
son got the basketball shoes that like Broom and Mazar were wearing that are different colors, which is totally out of character, out of line, just completely ridiculous. But he loves them. And
wait, each pair is the right shoe looks
one
different
is blue
than the
and
left.
one is orange. Yeah, it's ridiculous. but he's had more compliments from more people on those shoes. Like at Disney, at least 25 people were like, "Nice shoes, kid."
Wow.
I was like, "Don't tell him that."
But do you just go and dunk on like random people in line at Star Wars?
He was like doing air shots like half the way walking around the park. I'm like, "There's no goals here, kid. Stop." But yeah, his shoes are sweet though. He likes them.
Love it.
Davis Riley has taken over the lead.
Yeah, I already said that. He's one under. And where's he graduate of?
Northwestern.
Alabama.
Oh.
Get some.
Did he graduate from the Culver School of Business?
Probably not.
Is he going to receive an award for his marketing of the university today?
Should, but not sure his GPA would warrant that. I don't know. I don't know what kind of. What
does your GPA have to be to get this award?
Probably good. I don't know. I don't know for sure, but I would imagine they're probably not rewarding people that didn't take school very seriously. I don't know if Davis Riley did or not. I have no idea. He's a lot younger than me. But
who says I didn't take school seriously just because I struggled? What's that face, John?
What's school got to do with me lifting weights and moving people off the ball?
Did what I needed to do.
Unless this science project helps me move. I'll take a physics class so I can learn a little bit more about leverage and pad level.
I don't think I would have passed that.
How hard did you work in school?
Depends on the class.
Math.
Some class as hard as possible because I knew even that wasn't going to get me very far.
History.
The craziest part is
econ.
The courses in my major required the least amount of work because a lot of them were
That's because you chose that major
and delivering some sort of a presentation, which I feel like God has given me certain gifts and capabilities to be able to do that, even with no knowledge of said subject. Kind of like the Masters this week. We'll be pulling that off again all week.
Come on, you know about the Masters.
Talking about ball speed, fly rate, spin rate, step meters, all of it.
Golly.
Look at that range. Look at that range, how beautiful it is. Now that's not the private range. We found that out this week. There is that. I feel like Marty gives a little extra comb this week too. Like he calms the hair down some because it's Augusta.
Did they tell him to?
No, I just think it's human nature. You're like, okay, I need to be a little more presentable this week, so we're gonna flatten it down just a little more.
It's an interesting approach that Marty's gone.
I'm like going Rory, they let Rory do that interview in a hoodie there.
Doing I think what's amazing, he can go from NASCAR to hillbilly headlines to Augusta coverage.
Guy's got range.
To TGL. That is range.
Now he's not allowed to go to the private winners range. But he does have range.
Different type of range.
No doubt about that.
Mm-hmm.
He has definitely got it. I did see where a gentleman was kicked off the course yesterday.
Really?
Yes.
For what? Wearing Malbon gear?
Arizona State men's golf coach Matt Thurman. He found out, this was on Monday, I guess, that Augusta National does not mess around with its rules about shorts crossing the ropes. Quote, strolled onto the Augusta range today with my coach badge and was removed.
Was he able to get back in? Do we have an update?
He said, I went out without thinking. After about one shot and one quick hello, they came out and said, I'm sorry, sir, you can't be on the range with your shorts.
Take a walk. I love that. That's amazing. You know what? I appreciate that. Like the whole world's getting softer. Like, oh, you know what? That's fine. It's fine. Everybody wants to wear their shorts. It's fine. It's more comfortable. You know what? It's fine. You can listen to music on the course.
Why do you let the patrons wear shorts then?
Because they're not involved in the action. Like when I go into a business meeting, am I going to wear, a hoodie and cargo shorts? No, like you are expected to dress a certain way. Like there are expectation levels in this world. And like, we have kind of done away with that in society. And like, I'm okay with that. Like obviously a mistake. He went and fixed it and hopefully was able to get back on the premises. But I don't know. Like I don't have a problem with them adhering to the standards and the rules in which they've put together for 100 and some odd years, 89 years.
It has been a busy week, not all for positive reasons. There is a lot happening in one league and not necessarily with players. We will update you on that when we come back. First, Greg, tell our listeners about Bromberg's.
Well, Bromberg's has been a great place that I've gone to for years. And I know you guys will feel very similarly to how I felt when I've gone in the door and met with one of their incredible members of their sales staff. They are so great. And I know you guys will feel the exact same way. Like, go get a natural diamond. These are one of a kind natural diamonds that began its journey 3 billion years ago. And that's when the diamond started to be created over 100 miles deep within the earth. It's amazing. These are beautiful, beautiful gemstones that not just appreciate in value over time, but will mean so much to your loved ones. So highly recommend, if you're in the market for a natural diamond, going and picking that diamond out with the pros at Bromberg. Look, these things, I'm going to be honest with you, I can't tell the difference between a super high-end diamond and one that's very, very normal. I don't know. I have no idea. I had to rely on the pros. That's why I highly recommend you guys going and checking them out right there at Bromberg's in Mountain Brook Village and at the Summit.
A new hire here locally from a coaching perspective and some major coaching news in one league. We'll get to that next on Mac and Cube in the morning. So we have more coaching news in the UFL. First here locally, Sanford has hired Lenny Acuff, former UAH and Lipscomb head coach, to be their next basketball coach. Only 564 career wins. 65% win percentage in his career. 8-time Gulf South Conference champion, 3-time Gulf South tournament champion. Won the ASUN tourney last year, 8-time Gulf South Coach of the Year, ASUN Coach of the Year last year. I think it's a great get for Sanford. It's a style that'll stay a little bit close to what they had. Get up and down the floor. And a guy that just knows how to coach. Obviously, Greg knows how to coach in this state as well.
Absolutely. And we've had a chance to visit with him, and I was super impressed. And this, like you said, been around, has had success, has seen the tournament. I think it's great. So excited for him and look forward to seeing what he does.
I believe we're going to have Coach Acuff on the show tomorrow, trying to iron out a time for him to be with us. But I think we're going to be able to have that. So that'd be pretty cool if we get him on. Also, in the UFL, San Antonio Brahmas offensive coordinator A.J. Smith has stepped down. Now, they will be at Michigan this weekend. He stepped down yesterday, Greg, for a Sunday game. Kellen Mond, new quarterback in San Antonio, it has not been going great. But to now have to replace your offensive coordinator on a Tuesday going into a game week on a Sunday, not going to be ideal. Kellen Mond is the quarterback there in San Antonio. 30 of 58 on the year. So it's around 52%, 288 yards. He has not thrown a touchdown yet. He has thrown one interception.
Just one?
Yes.
Well, we're good then.
However, I would not put all of it on Kellen Mond when I'll just say I would not put it all on Kellen Mond. I would not put it all on A.J. Smith. And we will stop there.
Makes sense to me.
Also yesterday, DC stepped down. Greg Williams is no longer the defensive coordinator for the DC Defenders. Now, this on top of Ken Wisenhunt taking a leave of absence before the season at Memphis. He is now back. And then, of course, Reggie Barlow leaving right before the season at DC. It doesn't push a lot of positive vibes towards the league from a coaching perspective, GMAC.
No, it doesn't. Lot of, and who can blame anybody? You see the numbers that people are getting in the NFL. I mean, these head coaches in the NFL are making $13 million a year, their first year on the job. And then you see the numbers that guys are getting in college, and you think, golly, I'm here and I'm making money and it's good. But when you're seeing coordinators in college football making 3.1, and here you are in the spring league, granted, quality of life, 10 plus, but income potential limited and capped. So I get it. I think probably a lot of folks are looking for a way to get back to the fall and have that earning potential go up tenfold.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what that San Antonio offense looks like this weekend and then how it's managed. I'll be on the call for that game. So I would imagine this. Be a lot of audio utilized from the San Antonio offensive coaching staff when they have the football. That's just a hunch.
Feel good about it?
Which could be very interesting to listen to, by the way. Kellen Mond will be mic'd up. I have not seen an announcement of who's taking over. I would imagine it'll be Peyton Pardee. But, yeah, we'll see how that goes. But it should be intriguing. And then Greg Williams' son-in-law is the defensive line coach there at DC, so I'd imagine that's your natural fit that you go to, and then he'll run something similar. He's been a DC in the NFL, so that's you'll go there, you'll figure that out. It'll be all good. Make your home temperature all good with the comfort of a train. You guys know this weather's been back and forth. Another day today, 48 when you leave the house, 75 this afternoon. Spring weather in Alabama is unpredictable. That's why you need the reliability of a Train, voted America's most trusted HVAC brand. Right now, you can receive up to a 10-year warranty on parts and labor on select Train home comfort systems. Find out more at Train.com. It's hard to stop a Train. Master Scoreboard update next from Greg McElroy on Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Let's run right into Eric McLean as we are running a little bit behind today on the show. EMAC, Clemson spring, I don't know, was it a game? Was it a carnival? Was it a get-together? Was it just a
Peace treaty,
extra practice? Like, what do we have?
tariff
And then
negotiation?
What did you take away from it?
Yeah, I think the negotiation part, I like that, Greg. You know, they got some stuff done after that weekend. You know, stuff started moving a little better.
There you go.
But no, it was a glorified practice. You know, it's just so different, right? Like these guys, man, they're so soft, brother. We didn't even have enough guys to barely play a game. Cole, back in our days, offensive line, if you had a broken ankle, tape it up. You're going, man. We're playing. We got stuff to do. Maybe not quite. Maybe I'm joking a little bit, but you know, they were shallow, so they decided to you know, they had a scrimmage and they had 3 teams of guys roll out, but it wasn't 2 teams split. They had the 1s on 1s, 2s on 2s, 3s on 3s. And, you know, outside of a handful of guys not being able to go, it was a fun showing.
How would you assess some of the new additions? They've obviously gone to the portal now and have added a couple pieces. They also have a bunch of young players that I think a lot of people are really high on. So how would you assess that?
Yeah, great point. And I think, you know, starting with the transfers, you know, obviously the headline was Tristan Smith. I mean, a big receiver, right? 6'5", 200 pounds, just that basketball frame that, you know, I hope he can go the Diego Pavia route and just, you know, sue people until he can get more years because, man, he has so much potential. I mean, that guy has not even scratched the surface. And you think about this spring, I mean, that was the best competition he's gone against in his whole life. And then he caps it off with, you know, 5-catch, 130-yard touchdown, whatever performance in the spring game. I would hate if they just get a year out of him because I think he'll probably be, you know, probably the 5th guy off the bench, but a really good piece and show that he's for sure going to be a goal line, red zone threat to go up and get that football. Will Helt, the big defensive end from Purdue, is exactly what Clemson needed. I mean, you look at the depth that they had last year. Unfortunately, having to put their best defensive player in Peter Woods out at defensive end when he's a true, you know, 1-3 technique, that struggled with him. And that, you know, people took advantage of that. We're able to get on the edges. That will not be the case this year. That guy is a technician, 6'6", long, 280, just a pro. I mean, I've been to, you know, Clemson multiple times and some of those days being off days, and he's in the facility. You know, he's in there watching film, working out. He understands what this opportunity is and how he's going to make the most of it. And then the third transfer, Jeremiah Alexander, made a couple of really nice plays. I know Bama fans, you know him well and probably wish it worked out a little bit better there, but injury and whatever, he just needed a fresh start. And, you know, he's back in a place with a former teammate in Peter Woods and looked really good. So those 3 guys I think were very exciting. The probably the most impressive freshman was Gideon Davidson at the running back position. He's wearing number 9. If you look with your eyes halfway closed, maybe you see Travis Etienne. I don't think he's quite as explosive, but certainly looks similar, body type, big legs, a powerful guy. And he actually catches the ball significantly better than Travis, given where they were at the same time age-wise. I think he has a chance to start. I mean, it's going to be really fun to see how he progresses over the summer.
How is your group? The O-line looked, our group, I guess I'll say. But Matt Luke here too. Like, I mean, we love Matt here, and I think he has a chance to make a little bit of a difference from what it's been maybe the previous couple of years. But we're not worried about the skill. We're not worried about quarterback. How's that group going to look?
That's right. Yeah, here's the deal. That was one of the groups that unfortunately was affected by guys having to get just a cleanup surgery or just something they didn't want lingering over the summer. They rather, because they're older, right? This is a very experienced group. You have like 4 grads, you have a senior, and then a couple of juniors that'll be rotating in as well. So they've been around, and they're getting bigger, they're getting stronger. I think this group in particular has a chance to be the best in a while. And because of Matt Luke, because of the buy-in, where they are, I love what I've seen from Tristan Lee at the left tackle position. I think Blake Miller is going to be a very high draft pick after this year. And then you've got a couple of guys battling for that left guard spot. I think Harris Sewell will be the guy that lands there. But they're getting nasty. And the thing I think that's even more impressive, that you guys know this is what it takes to win natties and to play at the highest level. You've got to be bigger and badder than everybody. And the way that they've been recruiting, the guys that they're bringing on campus, it's really impressive. I mean, I would be too small to play on this offensive line. They're bringing in some big dudes.
Well, that's because you're just so skinny. That's the big thing right now. You guys are just wasting away, all you linemen.
Hey, we're trying.
Lastly, the advancement of Cade Klubnik and just how well he played last year compared to the year before. How much higher is that ceiling going to go? Can it get much higher than it was last year?
Yeah, great question, man. And you know how it is with quarterbacks, and the longer you're there, the more comfortable you are in a system, the faster you can operate. And that's probably where we see the biggest difference. I mean, everybody can nitpick, and when we get to these drafts, they tear guys apart, right? Like they find anything, like his elbow dips, 1 degree here, and it changes, whatever. But for me, I think it's how much more, of the offense can he continue to build on? How many answers can he have? His pocket presence was unbelievable last year. The way that he just, grew in the offense, I didn't think he could get there. And I'm sure we had conversations just like this post spring and even early in fall camp where I didn't know what he would be. And he far surpassed any expectation that I had. I think he's the best quarterback in the country coming back. I think his stats have proven that. I think his talent proves that. He was the number 1 quarterback coming out of high school, and he's reached that potential. Now it's just what next? How far up these draft boards can he climb? Are we talking Heisman Trophy? Are we talking Clemson back in the national championship picture? What does that look like from Cade Klubnik's perspective?
Eric, we appreciate the time this morning. I know you have other radio hits that you need to get to, but glad we squeezed you in. Great info on what Clemson did over the last weekend. We'll catch up with you again soon.
Cole, everybody wants to talk offensive line. I got to go. I appreciate you guys. Always fun talking with y'all.
Enjoyed it. Thank you. Eric McLean joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services. So Clemson, probably a similar spot that a lot of other schools, Greg, where just the numbers are not going to allow you to go out there and have the kind of game that you want.
Right.
But I always viewed that as get some of the guys that you might not expect to play out there and get them game reps, basically.
Heck
see
yeah.
if they can help you and see what they can do. Somebody might surprise you and give them an opportunity. They'll still get those opportunities, just won't be in a traditional game sense either way.
I still think that you don't know what you have until you have a real game. Like I would take the black jerseys off the quarterbacks. Like I wouldn't necessarily run the quarterbacks.
Well,
like I wouldn't necessarily run the quarterbacks, and I would tell everybody, "Hey, man, be smart. Like be smart. Like, hey, don't be a hero. Be smart. Let's not hit each other low. Like, let's not gang tackle guys, high low guys. Like you can be guys know what they're doing. I mean, I would make it as live as possible. If you lose a guy, you lose a guy. And that's an unfortunate reality of playing football. Still unlikely if guys play smart. Like if no one's going to judge you if you give up a sack or if you don't get a sack because you're falling on a guy's knee, you don't need to do that. Like just be smart, stay under control, rush the passer. But I make everybody live. I don't think you know what you have until you do that.
It's fair. You might not know what Game Day Men's Health has for you and how much they can help you if you are feeling on edge, if you're lacking sleep, lack energy. Could be the effects of low testosterone. Game Day Men's Health wants to help you with that. They offer testosterone replacement therapy. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com right now. Fill out form for a free consultation that includes a free PSA test and free testosterone test. They also have weight loss plans they can help you with, and now offering peptides in stock. They can mix these for things that you're dealing with, whether it's a lack of sleep, lack of energy, maybe skincare, anti-aging, a lot of different options for the peptides that they have in stock now at Game Day Men's Health. Just go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Get that free consultation. Go in, see what they can do for you. Minimal upfront cost for the programs that they offer. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Save 10% on any service they offer by mentoring Mac and Cube when you walk in the door. We will talk a little bit more spring football around the college game next. 8 a.m. hour number 2 right here on McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Chris Lowe coming up in 20 minutes. He spent the day at Auburn yesterday. We'll get his thoughts on conversations with Jackson Arnold, Hugh Freeze, different things happening on the Plains. They will have their spring activity this weekend as well, Greg. When you begin to look at questions that you need answered on this team, things that you would like to learn about this Auburn football team through spring, that now with the way things are managed, we're not going to get a ton. But what would be at the top of your list of, I would really like to know more about this with this Auburn football team?
How's the quarterback playing? Number one. Number two, defensively on the whole, I thought they were pretty good last year.
Quarterback or quarterbacks? Sorry to interrupt you there.
Quarterback at this moment. I know that's still in the competition. I know Daniels hadn't even arrived yet, but like I think it's Jackson Arnold's team. I'd be surprised if he didn't win the starting job. Doesn't mean he couldn't potentially get beat out, but I still think that he's the guy to beat. So I'll be curious to see how he fares. I also am curious to see how the defense in general fares. Last year, I thought they were very, very solid, kind of across the board. So pretty optimistic about what Auburn's going to be this year. I think they're going to be a lot better. But I also think that there's a few areas that could potentially get them, like the secondary, a few other spots.
Well, there was some news that I saw coming out from Auburn camp earlier this week stating that Deuce Knight has not thrown any interception the entire spring.
Yeah. I still think that Jackson Arnold's going to be the guy. Doesn't mean Deuce Knight can't be. Just means I think it's going to be Jackson Arnold.
I just wonder why we report things like that.
Because people,
if you're going to report that, you got to give me the attempts and you got to give me the situations.
But people want to see, like, the same thing with the coverage of Keelan Russell. Like, everybody wants Keelan Russell to be the starting quarterback at Alabama. Everybody wants Deuce Knight to be the starting quarterback at Auburn. Why? Because those guys have yet to disappoint them at this point of their careers. Never seen them do anything wrong. They're perfect. You and I have played. We understand that that's not always the case. In some cases, rare cases, it is, but it's not always the case. And if anything, it's far less likely that that's happened. There have been 2 national championships in the last 50 years, won by freshman starting quarterbacks, correct?
I believe so.
That would be in 1985 by the Oklahoma Sooners and in 2018 by the Clemson Tigers.
Doesn't happen much.
No.
Which makes it even more interesting that so many people want that to be the case. But I do understand your portion of it there, and it makes sense that that's the thought process.
Well, it depends on what your expectations are. Like, what's your expectation? To build for the future and to win a championship in 2 years? Or to...
My expectation would be, who do I think has the best chance to help you win the most games this year?
That's how I view it.
That would probably be a guy with experience.
If you can have experience, that to me is the most valuable thing. Doesn't mean that you're the best player or that you have the most talent.
Well, we have Steve Wiltfong on the show, who we trust in recruiting about as much as anybody. And he says, just temper your expectations, because Deuce Knight, even though wildly talented, still probably a little bit more raw than some of these other quarterbacks that are coming in as freshmen. So you can expect big things from him, just maybe not right now.
Yep.
He's going to need a little more time. When Steve tells us that, I'm willing to take a step back on it and just say, let's kind of see how that plays out. Let's give that a second. I'm okay being patient there.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, quarterback question number 1. Okay. After quarterback, where would your questions go?
Defense, for sure. I would say secondary, probably 1. 2 would probably be defensive line depth. And then beyond that, probably like to see the wide receivers and just see how much better that group has collectively gotten.
They bring in Dallas Walker from Texas A&M in Western Kentucky, who I've watched a little bit of. He's fine. He's a bigger body that I think can give you decent reps. I don't view him as any kind of a game changer. I do think getting Quintrell Jamison-Travis back, I think he could have a good season. I think I said it like 7 different Mondays last year that nobody talks about 97, and he just does good things every time he's in the game. and didn't play a ton of reps last year. But Philip Bleedy gone, Isaiah Rake's gone, Jason Jones gone. You had guys that could eat snaps last year physically that were capable and ready to be there. I'm interested on that side of the ball, Greg, with who takes sort of the Jalen McLeod role.
Yeah.
Because I think he played off the ball a lot more than you and I would have assumed going into the season. Can Kieran Crawford be that guy? Or is DeMarcus Riddick maybe more of a walk down guy and then come off the ball a little bit? Crawford sort of seems like that guy. And then I don't know if it's a Chris Murray that you brought in or a Jamonta Waller that would be next there, but that was a little bit more hybrid-ish than I expected it to be. So therefore, I think it'd be a bigger question for me going into this year.
Perfectly fair. Very much a hybrid. If anything, I mean, kind of just a playmaker off the ball. So I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to see that progression. I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to see, hey, what position is he going to play most? What position is going to be most natural for him? Are those things you're going to find out here in pretty base scrimmage that's available to everybody?
Probably not.
Probably not, right?
But I do think if you have concerns about the defense, the good news is you have a couple of guys that can be legitimate playmakers. Like Keldrick Falk can be a playmaker. I think DeMarcus Riddick can be a playmaker. I actually think Kieran Crawford has the capabilities, the athleticism to be a guy like that. I'm not going to say that he's there just yet because the other two I mentioned are definitely there. So you got a couple of guys that look like they're sort of working their way into playmaker status.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, you can lean on those guys a little bit more and they can take a little bit of the heat off of other parts of your defense. And the other part with the secondary, as you mentioned, is you got numbers, you got guys that have played. That's a positive. Just not all have been longtime starters and not all have been, all SEC first team when they have played. But you got some guys that have been around. I mean, Champ Anthony's played a lot. Kayan Lee's played a lot. Caleb Harris played. Jay Crawford's played. And as I stated earlier in the week, I want to know where the leadership's coming from because I heard rave reviews about Jaron Thompson when he got there and how he held guys accountable and the leadership that he brought. And I'll go ahead and say on offense also because Robert Lewis, Keandre Lambert-Smith, those guys did that on that side of the ball as well. So I actually think leadership for me is going to be a real question with this team. And that's one that you and I might never have the answer to be honest.
No, and you'll never know what's authentic leadership either, because some guys are disguised as good leaders, but they're actually terrible.
I think by now everybody knows where you're going with that.
But I'm just saying, like, that actually happens.
No, it's
like,
totally
I mean,
right.
that's a thing. So you need to have guys that actually have authentic leadership ability that really want what's best for the greater good, and the accountability is not just for cameras. It's really it's authentic. And I don't know the answer to that. I'm not sure we'll ever know the answer to that. And I'm not sure you'll ever have the opportunity to find out the answer to that until adverse circumstances present themselves. Until you are playing in the fall and a difficult situation occurs, how does that person respond? And who's the one that grabs the team by the back and said, let's go?
Right.
And you won't know that. I mean, and that's when real leadership is determined. That's why it's hard to lead until you play, because you can lead all you want, but guess what? You're probably not going to have anyone's ear until you go out there and actually do it in crunch time. So
the other part about that too, Greg, is guys who do that, there's a lot of other guys that don't like that. And so it makes it more difficult. And that's where the authentic portion of that becomes more important, because I think it's easy to ignore the leadership that's not authentic. So therefore the guys that don't like it, they're okay with it. It doesn't cause a problem. They don't have to really respond to it. The authentic leadership and the authentic accountability guys have to respond to, like the stuff that we shared about Cam Ward. When he tells you, cool, go throw with Lamar Jackson, but don't expect me to throw you the ball this year. Like guys can't ignore that. And guys don't like it. It's not something that's always welcomed, but it's effective. So effective leadership is what becomes the most important. And it felt like, based on what was shared with me and some of what I saw last year, Auburn got a good bit of that out of the portal. Now, some of the younger guys could have seen it, and maybe they take that and run with it. I just don't know who that's going to be. Could it be a Connor Liu? Possibly. You see, one of the things that Jackson Arnold, I want to get your thoughts on this.
yeah,
One of the things, and we'll talk to Chris Lowe after our next break, about 10, 15 minutes from now. One of the things that Jackson Arnold told Chris Lowe yesterday is he appreciated and respected and was very grateful to be invited to the Manning Academy, but he's not going to go because he feels like he needs every minute possible with his current receiver core. And he wants to build that chemistry. He wants to be with those guys and do things with those guys. Now, Is 1 weekend away going to hurt that much? I don't know. But I respect the thought process there at least. I respect the fact that that's where he wants to go with this and what he's trying to do with this. And I think he understands if we don't have that, we're never going to get to the places that are at all possible for us to be.
Yeah, and I think that's fair. The whole chemistry with the wide receivers thing, I'm just going to go out and say it. It's the most overrated thing ever. Like, there's going to be plenty of time to develop that chemistry with wide receivers. I think that the important thing, and I think he probably knows it, he needs more time with the wideouts to make sure that those wideouts don't develop some rapport while he's gone for 4 days. Don't develop some rapport with Deuce and or with the other guy, Daniels. So I think it's important, not because you need to develop that chemistry, but because you need to take and solidify hold of that position. Any time spent away, it's not going to disrupt whether or not you can anticipate a comeback to the left-hand side. It's because the guy that you're competing against is going to have more opportunities to develop that relationship with the wide receivers in your absence. So I think that's the big thing, is really him choosing not to do that indicates that he knows it's far from a done deal when it comes to locking down the position.
And that's all fair. And all things that you look at and say from a quarterback's perspective, one way or the other are going to have to happen. It is interesting to hear your thought on, excuse me, just sort of the other side of that may be there, that I guess you're wanting to actually offset more than you're wanting to go earn, but it's all a real part of competition. It's all a real part of how you go out and win a job, how you go out and be the guy. And Jackson Arnold has to do that. This offense is one that you have tried to explain to our listeners multiple times with how it's managed from the coach, from the play calling perspective, from the quarterback perspective. If there's an aspect of his game that you look at and say, he's got to get this in line to be successful in this offense, like a quarterback trait that he's got to get on board with his game, what would that be this offseason heading into this season for Jackson Arnold? Like, we're not throwing the ball,
pulling the trigger, getting rid of it, trusting it.
Yeah, but that actually could be not necessarily the physical tools, because I think we know he has all those.
No question.
But as far as, the different parts of playing in a different offense that would be required, like what's the part that's required in this offense that's a little bit different from maybe some other offense that he's got to get on board with? If he can't do this, he's just not going to be successful in this offense.
Quick decisions. I mean, this is a good offense. It's a difficult offense to defend, but it does put a lot on the quarterback and his ability to make split-second decisions. And you can't have a guy that's going to overanalyze. You need a guy that's going to just pull it and go. And anticipate a little bit in the pre-snap where guys are going to be, in the late movement, the late rotations, the late adjustments, the bait and switch techniques the defense have used with success against this offense are things that you can't fall victim to, because this is an offense that is going to turn the ball over. We pulled the numbers however many times the last few years. Like, this is an offense where you are going to have a quarterback that is put under significant pressure. It's a difficult offense for a quarterback, especially a quarterback that at times in his history has been turnover prone. So it doesn't mean that can't be overcome. It absolutely can be.
Right.
It's just difficult. As long as you know it's difficult, you're in good shape. So that would be the one thing that I would just be very, very mindful of, is the understanding that, hey, guys, we got to make sure that our quarterback is equipped for success. We got to make sure that our quarterback is going through his progressions the right way. And if he makes a mistake, it can't be crippling, because it was crippling at times last year when he made that mistake. So I'm still optimistic about what Jackson Arnold can do in this offense. I think he's a great fit for what this offense needs to be.
Yeah.
As long as he does not turn into a walking turnover yet again.
And as we have stated on the show before,
it has
rewiring the turnover genome is very difficult. Does not often happen. Is it good or bad that the majority of his turnovers came from putting the ball on the ground as opposed to throwing it to the other team? Is that more easily correctable, I guess? I thought that was more problematic portion of his game last year.
No, I don't think that's more easily correctable.
Oh boy.
I mean, bad ball security is bad ball security. In some cases, because you have small hands. In some cases, because you have, you're loose with the football. I don't know what the reasons are.
Right.
But no, I don't think that's something that can be easily flushed out. No.
It's got to be corrected, though, to an extent at least.
Might need to be, but it's not something that can be easily fixed.
Okay. Let's get a Masters leaderboard update before we go to break from Greg McElroy and visit with Chris Lowe, who was down in Auburn yesterday visiting with players and Coach Freeze. What do we have on tap at Augusta National?
Former champion Zach Johnson leads the way, 2 under through 3. Johnny Vegas is 1 under through 5. Mike Weir, past champion, 1 under through 4. And a bunch of others, including Fred Couples, also 1 under. Just birdied the first hole. Freddie Couples. Does he have?
Can he hang on through the weekend?
I think he's got 71 more holes.
This is the year.
Do it, Fred.
He can get it done.
Picking up the rear, Joe Highsmith, rookie, 2 over through 3. Patton Kazire Barner, 2 over through 6. And Will Zalatoris, 1 over through 1. Your boy.
Back problems.
What's his?
Why did you skip Kevin Yu at 2 over?
Because I don't know him.
Okay.
Why do you I don't know him at all. I got nothing on him. He's from Chinese Taipei.
There you go. What we do know is that your CBD store has products that can help you with weight loss. The Trim by SunMed is on the shelves now at the largest brick and mortar CBD retailer in the world. Whether it's better focus throughout the course of the day, better sleep at night, more energy throughout the day, skincare, gut health, your CBD store has products that can help you in your daily routine. First company to have USDA certified organic oil supplements. They have the stamp seal on those products. Therefore, they're going to meet and achieve a certain set of standards and tests before they're signed off on. If it's arthritis or anxiety for you or your pet, your CBD store has products that can help. Check out one of their 3 locations, Highway 280 by Bailey Brothers, 150 by the Cage in Cleveland, Trustful just off 459. Your CBD store where good health hits home. Chris Lowe, who was in Auburn yesterday, gives us his updates on the Tiger spring practice next on Mac and Cube in the morning. 8:21, Thursday, April 10th. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Listen online, jacksfm.com. The app is in your app store, iPhone, Android. You can download that for free. Watch live on YouTube every day. Chris Lowe joins us now on the Higginbotham Hotline. Was in Auburn yesterday, hanging out with the coaches, players. Chris, I would like to know first kind of what your overall thought was on this football team heading into your day yesterday, and then how that changed once you left.
You going in, a lot of questions, Cole, about where this team goes from the last 2 years. With a change of quarterback, they made several changes. I think coming out more that this team seems to have some real cohesion to it. And a lot of that is Jackson Arnold, the quarterback that brought in from Oklahoma, has really made an effort, not only offensive but defensively, to get out there and try to be a leader and get to know people. Keldrick Falk said, listen, man, the guy's been everywhere. He's been with us on the defensive side. We've done things off the field. I think Jackson understands how important it is that he come in and really immediately, leave his imprint. In fact, I wrote this. He was invited to go to the Manning Passing Academy, which is a really big deal for quarterbacks. And he was honored. He hated to say no, but he just did not want to take away 3 or 4 days from being with his guys. Because, Greg, the summer and the spring with receivers and quarterbacks, especially new quarterbacks, as far as timing and chemistry, is crucial.
When you look at that quarterback position, is that something that you think Hugh will kind of drag out for a long way, or do you think this is a decision that they would prefer to make a little sooner?
At Auburn?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I think it's Arnold's job. I just, in talking to Hugh and talking to everybody else, they like the freshman, big, good-looking kid who can throw it, man. But unless Jackson gives a reason for it not to be his job. But everybody I talked to, from Cam Coleman to Hugh Freeze to Jackson to guys on his offensive line like a Jeremiah Wright, that's all they talked about was him. And he's a guy that could do some things with his legs. I mean, that was one of the things I know that appealed to Hugh. He said, I looked at him. I know there were some times last year that it looked like he lost his confidence a little bit, but no, I think it's his job, and I think that's sort of the way he's operating right now, Greg.
What did you take away from your time with Jackson Arnold? I know you had a chance to visit with him, speak with him. I'm mainly interested in just the self-awareness of what last year was and maybe what this year needs to be. A lot of guys don't understand that there needs to be some auto-correction in their game. Where was Jackson when you talked to him about that part of what he might be or might not be for Auburn this year?
Yeah, hungry, Cole, to prove that he is what everybody thought he was coming out of high school. I remember he was the number 2 dual-threat quarterback in the country out of Texas. Everybody wanted him. He said last year, I asked him that very question, what do you think happened to Jackson? I was actually at the Tennessee game when they benched him. And he said, I just don't know that it was a fit. He said, I think probably at times after that happened, I lost my confidence, did not maybe make decisions as quickly as I needed to. And, but he said once I got back in there, he was the quarterback when Oklahoma beat Alabama. He felt like maybe he was going to end on a good note. But he said at the end of the season, it was pretty obvious to me. And I think the word he used is I just needed to reset. I need to go somewhere else. He liked the fact that Hugh was an offensive head coach, a guy that has won. Hugh has won with different styles of quarterbacks throughout his career. And Hugh told me that a big reason he's going to spend more time this fall with the quarterbacks or the practice field than he ever has before is because he understands how quickly and how important it is that they get Jackson back to being who, again, everybody thought he was. There were other guys they looked at. I think Mateer was a guy that was in play. And Hugh admits it was a mistake last year not to go harder and really try to lock in Cam Ward. But this year, there was no question, guys, that they were going to go spend money and bring in somebody they felt like could be a difference maker at that position.
Well, they certainly did that. What else is kind of keeping Hugh up at night right now as far as his personnel and his team? Does he feel like they've adequately addressed everything that they needed to address? And what do you think are some of the areas he's trying to kind of get ironed out as they navigate throughout the spring?
Yeah, Greg, I think right down the middle of that defense, I asked him that that very question too. He says we got to get better and add depth right there in the middle of our defense, interior line, linebacker, safety. So I think when the portal opens next week, and God help us all if there's no decision made by the judge on the settlement, because it's going to be utter chaos. That's where they're going to be looking to really try to bolster the middle of their defense. Not that they feel, that they lay awake at night worried about that, but he says we definitely need some reinforcement there.
Visiting with Chris Lowe of ESPN, who was down in Auburn, visiting with Coach Freeze, some of the players on yesterday. Where's Coach Freeze on this team? Just his sort of outlook, demeanor, thought process here with spring about to wind down. Has it been positive? Have they taken proper steps? Is there a real concern? Where did you feel like sort of his temperature was on his own team?
Well, I mean, he said, listen, there's no panic. We're deeper. We're more talented. They've had two really good, on paper anyway, recruiting classes. I think the fact that they do feel like they've addressed quarterback call. The position he talked a lot about was receiver. And that was a position last year where they just weren't very consistent. There were drops. There were poor routes. Now Cam Coleman had 8 touchdowns, but Cam told me himself, he said, I got to be that guy on every play who makes things happen, a guy that does it consistently. Two guys to sort of keep in mind here. I think Eric Singleton, and watching him practice, will be a really good compliment to Cam Coleman, Malcolm Simmons, that entire receiving, because he can absolutely fly. He's done it. He's played on big stages. He was very productive for Georgia Tech. I think they'll be much better at that position to make more plays. Peyton Thorne, for whatever reason, it didn't work, but everything that happened last year was not all on Peyton Thorne. They got to play better. They got to protect better. I asked you that. I said, how much better up front do you guys have to be? And he says, well, we got to be more consistent in protecting. He says, I do think Arnold will help us with his ability to extend the play, those types of things. But, they typically have run the football wherever he's been. They've run the ball pretty well. That's sort of been a stickler of his. I mean, I was going back and looking at some of the games the last 2 years, who they lost to, how they lost. And I forgot they ran for like 220 yards against Georgia 2 years ago and really controlled that football game until Brock Bowers became Brock Bowers that last drive. So once again, I think they'll be able to run the ball. They've just got to be more consistent. They can't turn the ball over. That's the thing he said, Chris. We turned it over in so many critical situations. We did not finish drives. I think they were 8 of 17 on field goals in SEC play. So getting McPherson back, he missed almost all last year. Things like that I know he feels better about. The big thing, though, he says is starting games better, and finishing better. And he said, I think we're a lot further down the road and having more depth and the talent to do those things.
Looking at the Crimson Tide, you were there on Monday, I believe. Might have been Tuesday, whatever day it was, earlier this week. Either way, you wrote a piece about how different things feel around the team this year and how different things are for Kalen DeBoer. What differences have you noticed with Kalen's approach to his second season?
Well, he admitted as best he can or would that, I think his quote was, there is a more of an edge around this team, a harder edge, and he said there needs to be. Whereas last year, I think they were more in, he called it retention mode, Greg, more maybe in tread water mode when you come in as a coach and you're replacing a guy like Nick Saban. You come right in the middle of the transfer portal. Guys are leaving. You go through spring, then there's another transfer portal. Deontay Lawson probably said it best. His star linebacker who's coming back from knee surgery. He said, I think it was hard for coach to be a bad cop last year with everything that was going on around the struggles, trying to keep guys in place, trying to keep the team, the locker room to buy in, people getting to know him and his style and vice versa. And, I quizzed Kalen on that. He said, I just think it's easier now for us to be more honest with each other, players with coaches, coaches with players. Deontay said there was a moment in a meeting last week or a couple of weeks ago, a team meeting, where some guys, not that they were goofing off or anything, but it was obvious they weren't probably locked in like they should have been. And Kalen just stopped the meeting, glared and said, listen, not happening. we're not going to have that. Let's lock in. Let's focus. Not that he didn't do any of that last year, but I just think it's easier for him. And here's another big part of this, Greg, is bringing in a guy like Ryan Grubb, who is like, if Taylor's a right hand, Ryan's his left hand. Those guys go back to '07 when they worked together. I think it's going to be even easier to have a guy like Ryan Grubb because I don't think he minds whatsoever being that bad cop. And I think it's already been very apparent on the practice field, watching them practice and hearing the guys talk about it. He has no problem being in people's grill.
What did you take away from the quarterback situation at Alabama thus far through spring?
Well, I take them at their word that they don't know yet who it is. I do think Ty Simpson is best positioned to win it based on his experience and some of the things he's done. I think down deep, they would – I don't want to say want him to win it, but sort of have expected going in for him to win it. But he hasn't done it yet. And Ryan Grubb was pretty candid with me. He said, Chris, we're not going to name a starter until somebody goes out and does it. He's got to go take it. They've given Austin Mack a lot of reps, I think, to try to really see and have a feel what he can do. The young kid's probably the best of all of them. I shouldn't say best. He's the most talented, Keenan. But he's a freshman, and he's been up and down like most freshmen are in their first camp. It's hard for me to see him being a starter in day one, but I don't have a hard time seeing him be a starter at some point because he's that talented. But I think if you ask me right now, if I had kind of money you have, Greg, and you do Cole in the bank, house money to play with, I'd say that Ty is your starter on game one.
I wouldn't be that surprised, though. And I know it's against their nature to drag it into the season, but if Ty doesn't secure it, he doesn't secure it. This is kind of, and I've kind of said this from the get-go. I think it's up to him if he's going to be the starter. If he does what he's supposed to do, he'll be the starter. If he doesn't, that opens the door for somebody else. And guess what? That's the way it should be when you have a veteran guy like that.
No, I think you're dead on. And Ryan, he pointed out to me, Grove, he says, listen, when we're in Washington, we went into the second week of preseason when Michael Penix transferred over. Now, the incumbent starter was a kid named Dylan Morris before we named it. He said, you don't want to ideally go that far. He said, but if we have to, we will. He said, there just hasn't been the separation that we want to see to make sure we know who our guy is. He said, you can't fool the players. They know it too. I mean, you guys play. Those guys on the practice field they see what's going on every day. You can't fool them. So if you're going to name your quarterback who's the leader of your team, you better make sure he has secured that. And I think you're right. It just hasn't happened yet.
Well, Chris, we appreciate the time today. Appreciate you sharing your insight with us that you've gathered from a couple of schools during the spring. What are you hearing finally just across the board about spring games and what they've turned into, what they might turn into, where they are? What's sort of the coaching sentiment that you've gotten from the guys that you've visited with?
Most of the ones would all like to scrimmage somebody else, Cole. Maybe someone in state, another team, or just have practices. In pro football, they have dual practices. I remember when I covered the Panthers, we went up to Cleveland, and they had practices with the Browns for a week. I don't know how many, but something of that nature, and not have a spring quote-unquote game on your team. I mean, I don't think they really want to show a whole lot. Most of the games were on TV. I think the injury factor is always – you guys know this. The biggest goal coming out of spring game or spring period is not to get anybody hurt. And so I think maybe to have a chance to get some of your younger guys on bigger stages against different types of competition, whether it's dual practices, whether it's a scrimmage of some sort. But I think we're probably headed down that road. Spring games are going to come few and far between.
Well, we appreciate the time today, Chris. Always great stuff. Great article up now on your time at Auburn yesterday. Look forward to having you back again soon.
You bet, guys. Take care.
All right, Chris Lowe of ESPN joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. I want to ask you a follow-up question on some of your comments around Ty Simpson that feels like it maybe contradicts a little bit of what Nick Saban used to share with us, just on that spot in general. We'll do that when we come back next on Mac and Cube in the morning. Welcome back in, McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. I want to follow up with something that you said about Ty Simpson and the Alabama quarterback battle this spring. 8:40 Thursday, April the 10th on Jocks 94.5. You can watch live on YouTube. Search WJOX 945, and we are always on. Watch it back during the course of the day as well as if you missed something. We've had Eric McLean, Chris Lowe today. Still have Wimp Sanderson coming up at the top of the hour. I'm sure he'll have plenty to say about the Masters because how much we love talking about that this week. Got to get it in. Do you have a scoreboard update, by the way?
Zach Johnson currently leading right now at 2 under.
With the snug shirt.
Is it tight? He's also got
a little snug.
Decent amount of taper on his right elbow. So I'm guessing some tennis elbow, maybe a pickleball injury.
Wingspan's not a lot. Colby Newton on his new book about SEC football at 9:20. Okay, you said that if Ty Simpson does the things he needs to do, he should win the job. It's his job to lose, essentially. And a lot of people don't like saying it that way. I get that. I don't really know another way to state it, though. How does that contrast with what Nick Saban used to always say is that the team will decide who the starter is, and they have to win the team over?
Yes.
And usually, not that Minka Fitzpatrick or Rolando McClain were knocking on coach's door saying, this guy's your starting quarterback. But based on how they reacted to them, interacted with them, responded to them, would tell him who needed to be the guy.
Yeah.
How did those two things kind of work together?
Well, I don't think they necessarily. I think it's a good question. I also think that not every guy's going to agree with who should be the starting quarterback.
That's totally fair.
I think that's what it will maybe
and
catch people by surprise.
What a lot of players don't understand is that it's personal for them.
In some ways.
We didn't know that a lot of times back in school. Was like, it was our best friend. So, of course, we wanted them to be the guy.
Of course. But also, I mean, it's, some guys want. If you have 85 scholarship players, there's probably going to be 20, regardless of the circumstance, that want one guy to start, no matter what. No matter what, unless you have just an all-world guy, right? And they know, all right, this guy's the best guy. But if it's close, you're going to have, and that doesn't have to necessarily become some fractured locker room because this group thinks this guy should start and this group thinks this guy should start. It doesn't have to be
right.
That significant. It doesn't need to destroy your locker room continuity and chemistry. But I do think that is not uncommon. I also think that the guy that's the most efficient, the players know. Like they know. They're going to play maybe in some ways a little harder for a guy if the guy has created a little more energy amongst the team. I don't know. Like to me, it was never like Coach Saban always said that, and I agreed to an extent, but I also feel like it's kind of obvious. The player is kind of obvious to the team. I mean, if a guy is not as good or not as efficient or doesn't score as often when he's leading the team drills, like it's pretty obvious which guy is the best guy. So I don't know. I've never thought that much about it from that angle.
Right.
I just think I'm amazed at how many people don't understand this concept. When you are a team with expectations, your expectations are to win championships. That's the expectation. And that can be anybody. That can be Ohio State. That can be Clemson. That can be Southern Cal, whatever. If your expectation is to win championships that year, most coaches are going to think going with the bird in the hand is better than the bird in the bush. They're going to go with that. The coaches, when you sit down with the coach and you talk to them about their team, they don't tell you what they're excited about. They tell you about what they're worried about.
Right.
Like, I don't know. I don't have this. I don't have that. I don't have this. I don't have that. Oh, and by the way, I have a young quarterback. Like, guy that hasn't played scares coaches. It does. And it's to be expected because you don't know what's going to happen when the bullets start flying. So
sure.
I think a lot of people just have a hard time understanding. The reason why I think Ty has the best chance is because I think Ty has already proven it on the field in an Alabama uniform for this staff that he can go out and execute the offense. Doesn't mean he's going to win the job. Just means that I think if he goes out there and takes it then it will be his. I've stand by that. I've still firmly believe that. I think people are reading into this way too much. It's like, y'all, it's not that complicated. The veteran's always going to have the advantage, especially for a team that has expectations. If you're a team that has no expectations, then in a tie, you're probably going to go with a younger player. But when your team has expectations, the coaches are going to want the veteran most of the time.
How does a coach sort of gauge the expectations in your mind? Is it like his standing with the boosters and the fans? Is it sort of what the media anticipates? Is it, because I think that's an interesting thought. And I actually agree with you. I wonder where.
I think it depends on what the coach's job security is. Like a little bit has to do with, all right, let's talk about Florida for a second. Who was the starting quarterback in Florida last year?
Not DJ Lagway.
Correct. Why? Because they had to win.
He didn't give them the best opportunity to win.
They had to win now. Like Billy Napier needed to win that day. Like they needed to win. So who started? The veteran. And eventually the veteran got hurt and gave way to DJ Lagway, and they gave Lagway a little bit at a time.
It almost worked out exactly the way it was almost best case scenario for Billy.
It was best case scenario. You had the veteran, you got the bird in the hand, you got to sprinkle in Lagway to get him comfortable.
And get everybody excited.
Yeah, and then guess what? And then when Mertz gets hurt against Tennessee, Lagway's in, it's his show the rest of the way.
It's what everybody wanted anyway.
Yeah. So I think but no one wants to remember that it was Mertz that was starting quarterback. Because
almost said Kyle Trask when you asked that question.
Well,
I don't know why.
Well, the coach's job was on the line.
Mertz and Trask are pretty much the same guy anyway. So
the coach's job was on the line. That's the way it goes.
No doubt.
Like people don't think about it that way. Like it depends on where the coach is at. Alabama wants to win a national championship this year. The expectation is for Kalen DeBoer to get to the playoff. Kalen DeBoer is probably looking at it saying, yeah, if I want to win a national championship in 2 years, I can go with this kid, Russell. If I want to win a national championship this year, or at least give myself a chance, I probably, just statistically speaking, probably am in best position with a veteran.
I want to ask you on the other side how much other aspects of the team maybe come into this decision as well, as in the cast around you offensively, what the defense is expected to be like. Does that make a difference in kind of where a coach may or may not go with that? It does make a difference where you are as far as how far you are away from retirement. If you're 10 years or less away from retirement, I need to introduce you to our friend and wealth advisor, Tad Hill, your trusted retirement planning partner. Tad is the co-host of the Retire with Freedom radio and TV shows in Birmingham and Huntsville, also been designated by Forbes as the #1 financial securities professional in the state of Alabama multiple years running. Tad, what do you have for us today?
Thanks, Cole. What I want to do today is talk about the foundation of retirement planning, which is income planning. And what income planning boils down to is how are you going to replace the income that you need in retirement once your paychecks stop? First, we have to figure out exactly how much are you going to need from your savings and investments. We need to start with how much is going out the door, and then exactly what can you expect from sources of income like Social Security and pension. And then the conversation shifts to what are the strategies that you can employ to ensure that you don't run out of income in retirement. All of these are things that we cover in detail in our Retire with Freedom course that we teach in our office on Valleydale Road. If you would like to get signed up for that, text JOX, J-O-X, to 205-988-0006. That's 988-0006.
This is a paid placement. Investment advisory services are made available through AE Wealth Management. For more information about Forbes rankings, visit Forbes.com.
Masters leaderboard update from Greg McElroy. They are on the course at Augusta National. How does it look?
Currently, Zach Johnson, Chris Kirk, and amateur Noah Kent leading the pack right now, all at 2 under.
Gotta love Noah's short game. Really soft around the greens, but can keep it between the lines.
He can bomb it.
Big fan of his work and how he operates.
Nick Dunlap, the rookie, I guess, rookie, first year, second year player out of Alabama. He's at 1 over. Patton Kazire out of Auburn at 4 over right now. Neither of those two right now looking like they're going to be champions this week. If I can tell you the champion is for GMC dealers, that's Bill Smith Buick GMC. You can take the short drive up to Coleman, see what I'm talking about. The deals they have on the lot are off the charts good. It's really amazing just how much money you can save by shopping with Andy Cole and Jonathan Yeager up at Bill Smith Buick GMC. You can get a 2025 GMC Sierra 1500 Denali Ultimate. $86,690 is the list price, but they can take $14,500 off. You can get it for $72,190. That's the GMC Sierra 1500 Denali Ultimate. That should tell you all you need to know is just how nice that vehicle is, how beautiful that vehicle is, and the deals that you can get by shopping at Bill Smith. You're going to save more money there than you will anywhere else. There's a reason why they sold more GMCs than anyone. There's a reason why 75% of their business is repeat customers, because you have a better experience when you shop with Bill Smith. Take the short drive up to Coleman. You'll be glad you did. You can also shop online. Have it delivered right to your driveway at BillSmithBuickGMC.com.
All right, so I asked you before the break, when quarterbacks' decisions are being made, as you reference it towards the hows and the whys, how do you think coaches that are in some of these spots that we discussed take into consideration your defense, how good that's supposed to be? Like, let's look at South Carolina last year. Shane Beamer probably knew his defense was going to be pretty good. All right, we can take a few flyers with a younger guy that might make a few mistakes because they're going to be able to bail us out. The weapons around you, if they are super reliable, your offensive line might not be dominant, but they're not going to get guys killed. Like from an understanding of the system, the scheme, protection, moving guys around. You're kind of like Texas had last year with Jake Majors. Like, you knew that wasn't going to be an issue. So, hey, we can allow a youngster that's probably going to make some of those mistakes, a little more wiggle room to be in there, as opposed to we have to have the guy that we know knows as much as humanly possible about what to do and when to do it.
Or, kind of what is the identity of the team? 2016, for example, when Jalen Hurts was starting quarterback for Alabama, what was the identity of the team? Win with defense, pound it, let's run the football, right? That was the key. Jalen Hurts was an elite runner. The other guys at quarterback that were competing were terrible, and it was a pretty obvious decision which decision they needed to make. So I'll be curious to see, what the identity is needed. And you can kind of tell a coach's thought process based on his evaluation of the team. So if you have a great defense, maybe you want to lean on the run game a little bit more, play a little ball control, be a little more mindful of ball security. If you have a defense that might be a little leaky, you might need a quarterback that can air it out and that can match you point for point, and therefore going with the more talented guy. If you make a mistake, so be it. We'll win with the ball on offense. So I think it just depends on where you're at.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at it from that perspective, it obviously could be something that a coach actually pays attention to, doesn't pay attention to, wants to be a big part of it. So I'm kind of with you. I see very few reasons that Ty Simpson won't be the guy. And I understand that there are going to be parts of it that other people look at and say, well, we want this for this reason. We want this for this reason. But I think there's enough there that if it's a guy that maybe has a little less arm strength, if it's a guy that has a little less mobility, you'll take the knowledge and the understanding right now a little more so than you will the upside from a skill perspective.
You got to go take it, though. I mean, you got to go take it. And remember, 2 years ago, Ty Simpson couldn't go take it. Had ample opportunities, couldn't do it. So far, and granted, it's spring. This is going to go for a while. This is a long way from being decided. He's got to go take it. If he doesn't go take it, then that opens the door for Mac, and that opens the door for Russell. So if he doesn't take it and lock it down, then it becomes a 3-horse race or a 2-horse race, depending on how the other two fare. But I still think he's the guy to beat, but is anybody's guess as to whether or not he'll be able to secure it at some point here in the near future.
Absolutely. All right, we got the Coach Wim Sanderson coming up with us in our next segment. Talk some Masters with him. And then Colby Newton later next hour talking SEC football. Keep it locked right here on Jocks 94.5. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Hour number 3 now underway. He joins us each and every week. Thanks to our friends at Coke and Piggly Wiggly. It's the coach, Wim Sanderson. Coach, how we doing?
I'm okay. Everybody talks about the Rose Bowl they were in, the Rose Bowl they saw. So they talk about that. So we can talk about Augusta that much. Too.
See? Tell them, Coach.
Yeah, you can talk about Augusta all the time. I'll give you a good experience for me. My kids laugh at me, but I'm over in Little Rock coaching Joe Ford, who runs the Cadillac place over there. Said, I'm going to invite you and Bobby Knight to go over to play. And so he picked us up and we flew over there. I played great. I had 1 par on 12. And I was so nervous on the first tee, I couldn't get my breath. It wasn't even anybody there. So just us. But it was something I've always wanted to do and got to do it one time. So anyway, we'll see what happens. I'll tell you something. When we talk about pressure, and getting ready for quarterbacks to do this and that, and basketball players to get to the free throw line when they got to make one. The pressure is on guys who've never played at Augusta and played for the first time.
What
That's
is,
right,
what
Coach. Let him know, Coach.
What are you looking most forward to this year, Coach?
Well, I think I want to see if Scotty can repeat. If you ever watch a guy, and I studied the guy swing can't play, so I'm not on the show telling you I can play, but I do study it. If you watch his feet are really, stay on the ground well and come off the ground at the right time, and he gets that left hip and right hip turning towards the ball. Though that hip turns or that shoulder, you got it going, and he's got the ability to not only the drive's important at Augusta, but the second shot is the biggest thing. If you can get, if you get the second shot on the green and keep it there, of course, the big thing there is putting. The speed of the green is I likened it to like you and I would take a marble and roll it across a glass top, a mirror. How fast that marble would go. That's the way the green is.
See, told you, Cole.
No, I told you yesterday. Every year, someone will say something along the lines of putting on your driveway, putting on your dining room table,
putting on the top of your car to your hood of your car.
Same thing.
Yeah. Well,
drop a marble
get him, Greg,
on glass, and this is what it looks like.
See, Coach, that's the problem. Cole just doesn't have an appreciation. He doesn't have an appreciation for the finer things.
Well, I better have a real appreciation because when I was coaching, Coca-Cola, who's one of my sponsors, came to me and said, "We want you to go to Augusta and just see it." So we went there and had dinner and saw the whole course. I don't think we played that time. Everybody has left their green jacket that won it except Gary Player. He kept his green jacket at home.
That's right.
And it was they played in the Crow's Nest. There's two of them stayed up there, Nicholas and I forget who else. And it's just got a lot of memories and a lot of stuff. Guy from state of Alabama won one time. Boy from Jacksonville, I forgot his name, but it's something that if you like golf and it's like whatever you feel is the best football game or the rivalry that you feel comfortable watching, not comfortable, but you love to watch because I don't think it's Army Navy. It's probably Alabama Auburn. I don't know who it is, but it's just something that sticks with you all the time, and you can go back and remember what happened. That's all. So,
Coach, do you think Augusta National? Do you think the golf course is the greatest golf course in the world?
No.
No?
I think it's close to. I think it's the greatest golf course in the world in the minds of people. If you go to a lot of places are just as tough, I think, as Augusta. But I think in the minds, I answered that wrong. In the minds of the people who want to go and want to pay to get in and want all this kind of stuff, and the players who play, I think it is. Winning the Masters puts you above everybody else. And as far as the public is concerned, and I think that's the big thing there.
So what course do you put ahead of it?
Huh?
What course do you put ahead of it? St. Andrews?
Oh, I don't know that I put any course ahead
Pebble
of
Beach.
Yeah, I played Pebble, and there were a lot of Japanese people in front of me, and they were fiddle-dicking around. I had to get the cart and dive up there and say, "Hit the cotton-picking ball and move on." I don't know if they understood it or not, but I got to play Pebble once or twice. So my as you can tell, my days are over. I'm older than dirt.
Pebble's special though. Pebble's a special place.
Yeah, it is a special. I forget what I think it's 500 or 1,000 to play now. I think we paid 100.
Yeah.
100 back then to play Pebble.
Well, I think it's 600 to play.
Okay.
And it is. There are several people that get their money's worth out there. That's for sure. But it is something. Have you played up in Wisconsin, Coach?
Have I played where?
Have you played in Wisconsin, like a Whistling Straits or anything like that?
Yeah, I played where John Daly won his tournament was in Indiana. I played there. I don't think I played in Wisconsin, but I've had the opportunity to play. I played in California some and enjoyed that. So I mean, I studied the game. I can't play, and but at one time I played fairly decent. But the one thing that kills you in golf because of the distance is age. Age is the booger bear towards you, so that's the biggest thing.
I don't know. I saw Gary Player out there ripping it today.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He rips it pretty good. He's not going to win, but
no.
So many of these guys get on the par fives and 3, or even 2. Sometimes they hit it so cotton picking far. Scotty and them, they hit it so far. They get it. Get there in 2 and 3 and have a chance to make birdies. A lot of birdies on par 5. So I don't know.
Coach, you mentioned John Daly. He won it in 1991 at PGA Championship at Crooked Stick there in Indiana.
Yeah, Crooked Stick. Yeah, I played with John Daly the last time they were here. The thing that galls me about, I shouldn't even say this on the radio. When all the coaches play in that celebrity golf tournament at Greystone.
Yes.
Oh, what's his name? It runs it. He cut me out last year.
Really?
And I said, why? He said, because of your age. And do you think I didn't bust him?
I think you wore him out for that, Coach. I understand it.
I said, because of my cotton picking age, I'll be glad I'm able to play at this age. And I said, the one thing about it, I'm not going to be putting for a 6. I know how to play. I pick it up and put it in my pocket.
There you go.
You got to know how to play golf. People play golf, but they don't know how to play.
That's right.
And that you do. So anyway,
Coach, what do you? I'm looking at the John Daly 1991 championship. His the money he won and winning that championship was $230,000. That was in 1991. I don't know what that equates to now, but the winner of
$2.8 million.
Not quite. The winner of the Masters this week will take home $3.5 million. Why are they making so much money now, Coach? Whatever happened playing for the love of the game?
Well, it's like everything else. Coach Bryant, Suge Jordan were to wake up and come see the money that kids get now. Transfer portal, they'd pass out. They wouldn't. Johnny Vault, Ole Miss, they'd think everything's money, and guys think they can make a lot of money playing golf. They can't. I mean, playing basketball or playing football, whatever they're doing, they're going to make a lot of money. It is what it is. It's no use me getting on radio shows and fussing about how different it is from when I watched when I was assistant coach for 20 years and see what goes on now. No use me complaining about that. I think Cole said that to me one time. No use complaining about the transfer portal. The transfer portal is what it is. So we live with what we've got. And I was the guy that went to Alabama as a GA. My job was to give those kids $15 a month laundry money. And so the assistant athletic director, Coach Bryant, wrote a check for all the football players, $7.50 every 2 weeks. So I was part of that. You were just a thought in your mama's mind when I was doing that. So it's quite unusual, no doubt about it.
It's a little bit different, Coach. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
We love your visits every week, and we know each and every week you're brought to us by our friends at Coke and Piggly Wiggly.
Well, Piggly Wiggly, Stanley is a great friend of mine, and Piggly Wiggly is a great company. And Coca-Cola, as I said, gave me the opportunity to fly over to Augusta a long time ago. I love you guys' show. I enjoy being on, and I don't know much, but I like to be on. Talk a little bit of. I think football is going to be interesting. You talk about. I'll say this: you got 3 quarterbacks at Alabama. Somebody is not going to play as much as they should, and that gets scary to you. I'm sure Auburn's pretty much set with their quarterbacks. They got the 2 they like, and they're going to stay. Alabama and Greg's already named the one he thought was the best. And
not the best. Not the best.
Well, we'll start. Yeah, not the best, but maybe had to jump on him because he'd been there before.
I think he's got the most experience, and I think if he goes out and takes care of business, it'll be his game. But that's a big if, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. And I just think that you have to be ready. That's where the transfer portal drives you crazy. I've got a son that coaches, not the one of my sons, not the high level, but he loses a player every year to somebody else because he found somebody that could really play. Yet he for that league, but now he's lost them because because of money. The biggest factor, of course, is playing time and money. I appreciate you guys having me on. Appreciate Piglet and Coke, and I'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, Coach. Definitely appreciate it. There he is, the Coach Wimp Sanderson, joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one source of solution for insurance, financial, and HR services. I want to tell you about our friends at Train. Obviously, the weather is going to be weird again today. In the 40s when you left your house, it'll be in the 70s later today. Those differences make things difficult. Spring weather in Alabama is unpredictable. That's why you need the reliability of a Train, America's most trusted HVAC brand. Right now, you can receive up to a 10-year warranty on parts and labor on select Train home comfort systems. Find out more at Train.com. It's hard to stop a Train. Masters leaderboard update from Greg McElroy next on Mac and Cube in the morning. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 9:17 a.m., Thursday, April 10th. Live Masters cut-in for Scotty Scheffler off the tee with Greg McElroy.
Scotty's going to start it up to the left-hand side here. It's the hole number 1 here at Augusta National. One of only 2 holes on the entire course that work from left to right. And he'll cut it just ever so slightly. Oh, yep, he struck it nice. Quick tee pickup, and he will walk forward with a perfectly placed drive here on 1. Having Scotty doesn't know in the background does feel a little awkward.
Well, he didn't know how to hit it right, apparently.
Apparently it's boring, but it's effective.
You think?
According to Rory.
Here's Minwoo Lee now, winner just a couple weeks ago. Minjee Lee, his sister, is one of the best female players in the world. He'll throw it close. Oh, spin it back nicely. He'll be right below the hole, about 6 feet to clean it up for birdie.
Did you know Rory McIlroy is the only player that's won twice on tour this year?
Yes.
That means he's going to win.
Well, the last 3 years, the guy that has the most wins coming into Augusta National has actually secured the green jacket.
I don't know if this is your master's voice or your allergies voice.
No difference. There's a lot of pollen in Augusta.
We are going to talk with Colby Newton here shortly on his new book, SEC Football, How a Regional League Became a National Obsession. We'll give you more updates from Augusta National. Quickly tell you a little bit about the transfer portal, what's been happening there. Alabama basketball player Jaron Stevenson is joining Mo Diabate in the transfer portal this offseason, as well as Nas Cunningham. Colorado's Isaiah Agustave is no longer with the team. Team's leading rusher a year ago. Memphis offensive lineman Xavier Hill, 2-year starter. He is hitting the transfer portal. Florida safety Greg Smith is hitting the transfer portal. High-profile recruit, 6'4", 217, 4 years of eligibility left. And UCF quarterback Dylan, you're going to have to help me with this one, Greg. R-I-Z-K? Risk?
Risk. Yeah.
He
I'm
plans
guessing
to enter the transfer portal as well. He was a no-show at practice today, started the last 4 games of last season. So a little bit of transfer portal update there. All those guys looking to move to a new destination. And if you're looking to move to a new destination, maybe you need to just move a piece of furniture from one room to the other in your home and you can't do it by yourself. Greg, who should you call?
It'd be Crocker Moves. There's a local company owned by an Iraq War veteran, Eric Crocker. Crocker believes in hiring moves you can trust to complete full background checks and run drug tests on every single employee. These are good guys. And you can trust them in your home. Whether it's your whole home packed up and move, your company headquarters moved across country, or you just want them to come rearrange your living room, these guys got you covered. They also do deliveries for furniture that you purchased and need to get to your home. So call or visit them online today for a free quote. The website is crockermovingservices.com. That's crockermovingservices.com. Support your veterans by choosing Crocker Moving Services for your next move.
Your partner labels this book as SEC Football as a fascinating history, and Colby Newton has captured it beautifully. This is a must-read for college football fans. That's from Sean McDonough on this book right here. You see it on our YouTube page. Go to WJOX 945 to watch live on YouTube. And the author, Colby Newton, joins us now live on the Higginbotham Hotline. You retrace the league back to its roots, Colby. And if there's one thing, looking back, doing research for this book, that you attribute the explosion of SEC football to the most, what would that one thing be?
One thing. That's a tough question. There's a lot of things that the SEC has done. I would say the one thing, and this is a broad answer, is they have always been able to stay one step ahead of everybody else in college football. And I think that really puts it in interesting context with what we see going on the last couple of years for the SEC. But going all the way back to when the teams broke off from the Southern Conference in the early 1930s because they were frustrated that they couldn't put their games on radio and they were not allowed to scout their opponents. From that point forward, the SEC has always just been a step ahead of everybody else in the country.
What do you attribute the ability to move and be so nimble? You would think a traditional group that's had great success, it would not be one that is going to be as nimble as they are. What do you attribute that to?
I think it's leadership at the conference level. And I think, Roy Kramer is someone that gets a lot of credit, deservedly so, for his vision. But he was able to get everybody together and to buy in. And there were a lot of instances, especially in the 80s, early 90s, when you have conference expansion, you have new television contracts, obviously the conference championship game, where people inside the conference were not happy with the decisions that were being made. And the conference championship game is probably the most well-known of that, where you had coaches complaining and saying, this is never going to work. This is actually going to hurt us. But the vision from the top of the league, I think, is what has always helped the league move forward in a way that other leagues have not been able to.
It's interesting, Cole, because I would have probably pointed to, if you made me pinpoint one thing, I mean, I think you could say Bear Bryant, you could say Urban Meyer, Nick Saban, you could say, I mean, there's a couple of things from on the field perspective, maybe even a couple of players you could have pointed to, but I would have probably gone that CBS deal initially, which from a national perspective gave it that window that a lot of people could look at. Now, you could have had that window and not had great football teams like, Bama, Florida, or Johnny Manziel upset of Alabama, or Cam Newton, things like that. And I don't think it would have mattered, but where would that rank, I guess, or how high would you place just that deal and that window and that platform for the league being able to get to where it is today?
I love that you brought that up, Cole. That's actually the entire reason that I wanted to write the book, is the SEC on CBS changed everything for the conference. They had already had the conference expansion that led up to that, and then the conference title game. And then when they got that deal with CBS, which again, at the time, as we look back on it, we all kind of think, well, that was a no-brainer. At the time, a lot of people didn't think it would work. And there were rival executives, particularly from ABC, that were going on the record at the time saying, this will never work. Nobody in the rest of the country outside the South will ever care about Tennessee playing Georgia, because what CBS was doing is they were making it a national broadcast, which was the first time that a league had a national window on a broadcast network. The Big Ten, at the time, the Pac-10, the ACC were all being regionalized. So a lot of people didn't think this would work. And in the first year, the ratings for that SEC on CBS game in the window, in that 3:30 Eastern window, was losing to ABC. But it only took about 2 years for what I think the rest of the country to see, oh, wow, these people care about college football. And so because they care so much, I care so much, even though I live in, Seattle, Washington, or something like that. So I love that you brought that up. That was a huge part of the book. And we spent a lot of time detailing what exactly had to happen for the SEC to come up with that deal with CBS.
Who were some of the visionaries surrounding that deal?
Well, Roy Kramer was the biggest one with that. And you had, there were some interesting things that happened